What's up and welcome to GunTv. Today we are with our very first sponsored athlete, Tommy Gun McMillen. And we are going to do a little bit of training and get to know Tommy a little bit better. But first on the agenda, Tommy is going to whoop me in a workout. What do you got for me today?
I'm going to put you through a little bit of a fight simulation. It's something that me and a lot of the other pro fighters at the gym do when we're getting closer to a fight. Our fights are 3 5-minute rounds, so we're going to have you doing 5 different exercises, a minute long each, which will be 5 minutes. Then we're going to take a minute break, like we're in between rounds in a fight, and then we're going to do it 2 more times. So it's going to be a 15-minute workout. We're going to push the pace and just see how much you can handle.
Cool. Sounds brutal, but I am looking forward to it. Before we dive into that, Tommy, I want to go over kind of like, what is your record right now? What do we have to look forward to? And before we dive in, how can people be supporting you as well?
Yeah, so my name's Tommy Gun McMillen. I'm an 8-0 undefeated professional MMA fighter with 8 first-round finishes. 8 first-round finishes. No one lasting longer than the first round. And my next fight is going to be on Dana White Contender Series, September 2nd. So make sure you guys tune into that. Watch me get another highlight reel finish and secure my UFC contract.
Sweet. And then last question before we dive into our edit, what is your, without giving out all your secrets, what does your training look like leading up to the fight? I know we're still a little bit out, but you got 2 days yet, you running low weights, what you got going on?
Yeah, you know, I'm always kind of training like I got a fight coming up. It's just, I'm in that point in my career where I always need to be ready to fight. So I'm just doing 2 days right now, staying in the gym, keep my weight low, and then as we get closer to the fight, we'll do more specific training for my opponent.
Sweet. And I am looking forward to this workout today. Not sure what to expect, but I know it's going to be a fun one. So let's go ahead and dive into that, and then we'll get to know you a little bit better at the end of the video.
Yep, let's have some fun.
Hopefully you enjoyed that dope edit, as always, from the wonderful camera lady, Alex Caliber Rowe. So now that I'm completely gassed and out of breath, I'm whooped, we're gonna just get to know Tommy a little bit better. Before we dive into all the fun, exciting stuff that you've got going on right now, what got you into fighting? I know just from watching your YouTube videos in the past, you were quite the wrestler in Montana. Some wrestlers know right from the start they're making that transition to MMA. Other wrestlers are like, I'm gonna hold on forever. Ultimately, at what age did you know, like, I'm gonna be going for that gold one day? And what made this your goal to do this?
Yeah, you know, I started wrestling when I was 3 years old. My parents put me in the 5 and 6 year old division, and that's where I competed. So, you know, some of my earliest memories as a kid was on the wrestling mat. And then my dad also did a lot of semi-pro boxing when I was younger. About like I remember watching him hit mitts when I was, you know, probably not even in kindergarten yet. Like some really early memories. And so I kind of grew up around it because of my dad, and then grew up wrestling. And then Montana MMA, you know, it's not as advanced as it is in Arizona. There's not as great of coaches and teammates. You know, it's very old school and in the pioneer days, and especially back then. You know, there was no even MMA at the time in Montana, especially in my hometown. And then in about 3rd grade, because my dad was doing that semi-pro boxing a little bit, like when he was younger, he quit doing it for a while. And then like, I think a few years later, I was like in like 3rd grade, and you know, I've been wrestling at this point. And he decided he wanted to start doing MMA. So I remember watching him fight in MMA when I was in like 3rd grade. And you know, it was so old school back then that it was in a boxing ring. Yeah. It wasn't even in a cage at the time. So I just remember watching him do that, and then he actually ended up opening up the first MMA gym ever in our hometown, Great Falls, Montana. That's the town that Tim grew up into, went to high school there. So it's he was kind of a pioneer of the sport, and so I kind of just remember being in 3rd grade. I was training with adults. No other kids did it in Montana. It was very foreign, you know.
Right.
So I trained with a bunch of adults from like 3rd grade. At 3rd grade, like I told everybody, you know, like this is what I'm gonna do for a living. Like I'm gonna grow up and be in the UFC. So that's pretty much kind of when I made the decision to pursue this.
Absolutely, and the cool part of coming into this journey where GunTv has meeting Tommy and everything is like we've seen his dominance, but you're arguably probably not even in your prime yet of what you're going to do. Like, signed with the UFC by the end of the year, like give it a few years and this will be a different conversation. We'll be celebrating with you. And but so you said Tim growing up in Montana, you growing up in Montana. Did you guys meet there and come here together, or how did that connection make where you're training with Tim?
Well, Tim's quite a few years older than me. I think he's like 34. I'm 27. So just the MMA world was a small world in Montana. I remember, you know, my dad was coaching a local team there. I think Tim was fighting out of Missoula, Montana, because he moved there for college at the time. So Tim was fighting out a different team, and we'd see him at the fights, and I just remember watching Tim. He was super explosive. He knocked people out. So, and I could tell Tim was levels, it seemed like levels above all the other people at the fight. So I always kind of like was like, dang, like that guy's good. And he'd see me around the fights. He kind of like knew who I was, you know, but I was a really young kid time, and I just kind of followed his career. Saw him go out to like Oregon, it was, and train there for a little bit, and then I saw him come out here and start training at the MMA lab, and I was messaging him when I was in high school, you know, telling him, hey, like I want to come out there and train. Like as soon as I'm done with high school, I'm just gonna go to high school, because I only went to high school to wrestle. You know, I wanted to wrestle, so I told him as soon as I'm done with wrestling season my senior year, I'm gonna pack up my car, like move out there, and that's what I did. So,
and that's with any kind of protection we talk about on GunTv, whether that's fitness, firearms, fighting. It is so important to be surrounded with like-minded people that are going to push you to that next level. I've not been in the MMA world near as long as you have or trained with as many people, but I do know the value of good training versus just your local dojo that puts anybody in the cage. What can you say about being here at Red Hawk that separates this gym from 90% of the other gyms throughout the valley?
Honestly, being at Red Hawk, there's a lot of good bodies in here, obviously, but one of the best things is the coaching staff. I think Red Hawk Academy really has one of the best coaching staffs in the country, definitely the best coaching staff in Arizona, and I'm thankful to be able to learn from all these high-level coaches, multiple UFC veterans coaching, and then, you know, we got our head coach Tim Welch, and just the way he takes a different approach to every individual. You know, he doesn't try to teach everybody the same and do everything the same for everybody. It's the way he kind of caters to everybody individually to like help them reach their full potential. I think that's the biggest thing that stands out being here.
Yeah, I love the coaches that allow you to have your own style, because I've been to a few places where I'll throw like the Compton slap and they'll be like, absolutely not here. But if it works, it works. Obviously it works for the Diaz brothers and stuff. But all that being said, we're not going to make this super long-winded. Over time, Tommy is a longtime sponsor for us. Buy stock now. I don't just say that because I'm here with him. This dude is going places, and GunTv is, let's say, we're going to ride his coattails while he does it, as long as he'll keep us around. But the reason Tommy Gun is a good fit for GunTv is, one, he portrays that protection that we want, that the male figures watching this can be like, all right, I can learn a lot from Tommy on how to protect my family with my hands. On other videos, you'll see that these people can teach us how to protect our family with weapons and fitness or whatever it may be. But what makes Tommy a great fit for us is that he is one that puts in the work, he walks the walk. He is entertaining. You heard with my last fight video that I talked about how like we want a sense of professionalism, but on the fighter side, we need a side of crazy as well. And Tommy fits that perfectly. Make sure you watch his YouTube videos. They are fun to watch. Tommy reps his brand very well, and I know he's going to do the same with GunTv. All that being said, when I first first messaged you on Instagram, then we met up here at the gym, chatted for a little bit. What made you decide that?
I mean, I've been wanting to do something to work around something with guns for a while. I just think for branding wise, you know, my name's Tommy Gun. This is, you know, I'm always doing this. The gun, like if you watch my fights, I'm always just, you know, doing guns and yeah. So it's like I've always kind of knew I needed to get my foot in the door somehow, and then, you know, I kind of, you know, I'm very careful about who I kind of like team up with and work with. I like to work with like-minded individuals. So I've talked to a few other people, you know, but nothing really ever clicked. And then, you know, I met you, and I kind of saw your energy towards the whole thing and like your vision, and I think it aligned with mine. And then I met up with you and talked to you, and yeah, it was a good fit. So I'm super excited to see what we can do over the next year together, especially, you know, my platform is only going to keep growing when I get to UFC, so it's just going to kind of bring everything up with me as a plan. So.
Yeah, and we have tons of cool collab ideas with Tommy that are in the works. Won't release those too much yet till closer to fight time. But this content back and forth is something we want to do consistently. I want you guys to get to know Tommy a little bit better. And also, if you're running through some of our shows, you never know when Tommy might show up. We're also going to get some content on the range one of these days. But all that being said, thank you so much for being a sponsored GunTv athlete. Yeah. We look forward to such a bright future. I can't wait to go to Vegas and watch you in September. That's something me and my wife have already blocked out our schedules for. We're stoked for. I'm going to be there celebrating, be your biggest fan. But all that being said, make sure you swing over to GunTVshows.com to get a list of our full schedule. Also, you can grab a $2 coupon there, and make sure you swing through the shows because Tommy or some of our other sponsored people may just be there. We'll see you guys in the next video.